The full moon in Libra on Saturday, April 12th, brings changes and endings to our relationships. Occurring on the same day as Venus, its ruler, stationing direct, it brings important insights, reveals imbalances, and offers powerful opportunities for integration of our desires with those of others. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer and astrology teacher specializing in natal, relationship, predictive, locational, and electional astrology. A lot of them. If you enjoy my work, please show your support by taking a few seconds of your time to leave me a like, a comment, subscribe, and press the notification bell. Watch more of my videos, please, because that helps YouTube algorithm to show my content to more people, helps me grow. That's how it all works. If you want to say your thanks a different way, you can also buy me a tea, a coffee, a croissant, any token of appreciation, happy thoughts, comments, all of that means a lot. Thank you so much for that. It always puts a smile on my face. Before we dive in, I am teaching a natal astrology blueprint of the soul course. If you're not studying astrology, what are you waiting for? The world is so complicated and things are so uncertain, and it's really, really hard to know where you're going and what all of this means. And astrology gives you a lot of answers. It helps you see the purpose of your life. It helps you see your strength. It helps you work with your weaknesses. Otherwise, it almost feels like living life blinded, not blinded, but wearing like a blindfold, right? I think astrology helps you take the blindfold off. Sign up for my course, join us at the link in the description or find it at anastasia.astrology.com. On there, you can also book a reading. I can help you pick a date for your wedding, figure out the best place in the world you should move to, help you understand yourself, and answer questions about the unpredictable future by doing your year ahead or solar return reading. The latter is best done right around your birthday. So check out my website for that. I also do relationship readings, just by the way. And I'd like to highlight my beautiful Venus in Libra 3 candle. This one was created with Venus in Libra, Venus in the sign of rulership, very playful, very romantic, very magnetic and attractive. And it's decorated with copper foil, which is the metal of Venus. It's pink, and it comes in this beautiful jar that glitters when it's lit up. Perfect for the Venus retrograde times. We have them every 18 months. Perfect for those born with Venus in a weaker sign, such as Aries, Scorpio, or Virgo. If your natal Venus is retrograde, or if your Venus is placed in the 6th, 8th, or 12th, considered dark houses. And if it conjoins, squares, or opposes Saturn, my choice for you. And for anyone who's looking for more ease in relationships, right? Like most times, even if we have a lot of strong planets in our chart, we still might have Venus really close to the sun or Venus in a difficult aspect. And that's why so many people struggle with love and struggle with relationships. It's, there's never like one size fits all, but I think this candle can help smooth out the rough edges and make you use the potential of your chart a little better. Thank you for listening. Check it out. So the full moon occurs on Saturday, April 12th at 8:21 p.m. Eastern at 23 degrees 19 minutes of Libra. Just an hour later, Venus turns direct. So Venus is stationing all the while the full moon is happening. So whenever the planet stations, there is a bit of a very sort of focused energy, we feel maybe very dialed in on a problem, a situation, looking for solution. So on some level, this full moon may offer you solutions. It may bring insights, right? Venus stationing direct is a major momentum shift. So I think as the mood changes after Venus has done its retrograde, you are ready to recommit to things, a relationship, partnership, a person, a contract, an agreement, or you're ready to set it aside and let it go. So it happens at 23 degrees 19 Libra, meaning it will affect people with planets about 3 degrees on each side. So from 20 to 26 degrees, Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn, which are our 4 cardinal signs. It will affect everyone, and I will break it down and tell you how it might affect you when I'm doing the individual sign readings. But especially strongly if you have planets between 20-26 degrees of those cardinal planets, cardinal signs. And it's not just planets, it's also your ascendant, descendant, midheaven, IC, your north node. You want to look at those. The full moon is always tension. The full moon is always the sun opposite the moon. It's always the time of, 2 opposing energies showing up, and there's a need to integrate and balance the two. We are in Aries season, which is very self-driven, very self-aware, very independent, very focused on personal goals and desires. And the moon in Libra reminds us that you really cannot do most things alone. You don't exist in a vacuum. You need to build relationships with people. You need to have collaborations with others. So there is a need to sort of unite the two, right? And be aware, where are you taking the independence too far versus where are you taking the people-pleasing energy too far. And so balance like independence with codependency, right? And try to slow things down maybe and find some answers. So because it's Libra, because it's the sign of partnerships, diplomacy, beauty, art, those are the main sectors of life you may see the changes in. Transformation of style, a need to have some serious conversations. There is a bit of a sensitive energy to this full moon because it squares Mars in Cancer, which can suggest that, you have this diplomatic peacemaker Libra, you have the courageous, let's just say it as it is, Aries, and then you have Cancer in so you have Mars in a very sensitive Cancer. So when all of these get mixed up, it's almost like 3 people having a fight, right? And they could be 3 people within you, or they can be 3 people for real. Like you're trying to be a diplomat between your brother who just speaks their mind and your mother who keeps crying when things are uncomfortable. So it can definitely carry that kind of emotional, intense energy. The T-square, which means we have square between the 3 cardinal signs, but not the missing piece is Capricorn. So the T-square releases into Capricorn, which is the sign that's missing, which again sort of makes me think of needing to be slow, steady, grounded, maybe a little bit like focused on your boundaries, right? Capricorn is really good at boundaries and priorities as you navigate the tensions. And sometimes the square to Mars in Cancer does suggest that sometimes you need to say things. Sometimes you can't be avoiding conflict all the time, which is what Libra might choose to do, right? If you have strong Libra placements, raise your hand if you don't like conflict. I'm kind of mixed though. I think as a Libra rising with my 7th house being Aries, I think the relationship sector is very much, conflict is a given, even if you're I don't know, it's important for Libra risings, I think, to learn how to fight healthily. But I'm not Libra risings are not the ones who avoid conflicts at all costs. I think, and that might be, you might disagree with it, but in my personal opinion, it might be Aries risings and Scorpio risings who do not fight in their relationships at all. They might fight in everyday life and other things and sort of be more aggressive in other realms of their life, but the relationships, they will choose to maybe suppress it. So for those of you who suppress conflict, this might be a good time to not suppress it. The full moon also opposes Chiron, which offers us a chance to find some healing, to heal relationships through healing of oneself, or to heal oneself through relationships. So let's take a look at the 12 rising signs to see what this might be lifting up, bringing up for you. If you are looking for personal guidance, visit anastasia.astrology.com to book a one-on-one consultation. I do natal, relationship, predictive reading, solar return, best done around your birthday, year ahead at any point. I can also do an electional chart for you, helping you pick a date for an important event, or help you look at the places in the world that suit you best. All of that is on my website, together with my class, Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul. Learn astrology to gain control over the turbulent, unpredictable life and feel more fulfilled and stable. So let's start with Aries rising. There is a full moon in your 7th house, which means changes in relationships, partnerships, contracts, and agreements. A relationship, if it has been feeling difficult and like unfair, unbalanced, may crumble and fall apart. You likely already know that the time is coming, so don't get scared if everything is fine. There may be a chance to recommit to a relationship. There is a square to Mars in the 4th, and the ruler is Venus turning direct in the 12th. So maybe you're navigating some matters involving real estate, involving property, involving family matters, your family or your partner's family. And there could be a chance to kind of clear the air and to find a way to balance things in a better way while not forgetting your personal needs. The ruler being Venus turning direct on the same day in the 12th house makes me wonder if you have recently realized the self-defeating tendencies and maybe patterns that are holding you back. And maybe some of those are showing up in your relationships, in your partnerships, in your business connections. And so maybe there's an opportunity to like reinvent your relationships, renegotiate some contracts, revisit some uncomfortable topics so that you have more alignment in relationships. And yeah, because there's a square to Mars in the 4th, for some of you, it could be connected to where you live, right? It could be connected to like a landlord or your mortgage or your lease on your apartment that you're navigating. Or even the square to Mars in the 4th, there may be a sense that your childhood and your relationship with your family is impacting your present and your current love life and your current relationship or the lack of a relationship. So deep realizations in partnerships and a need to either clear the air or become more aware and transform something I can see here. If you're seeking more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to book your personal consultation or to sign up for Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course. The Venus in Libra 3 or even 2, both of these candles are great for you. For my lovely Taurus rising, there's a full moon in your 6th house and a square to Mars in the 3rd, ruled by Venus turning direct in the 11th. There's a need to let something go in your professional life out of a desire to start a business, out of a desire to follow new dreams, out of a desire to start a new partnership, to do work that somehow fits the collective, that somehow helps people around you. Because Venus has been retrograding from your 12th into the 1st. It could have been bringing, it could have brought up a lot of like important realizations. And so I think this full moon in the 6th is almost like an opportunity to tie up some loose ends and to release certain maybe heavy projects, to maybe even take care of your health and like prioritize your well-being. But because it's a full moon, so it's it's an ending and it completes the chapter started in October with the solar eclipse in Libra. What was happening in your life in October? Like maybe you took on a job to pay bills and now you feel like it's enough. You feel like this job has been exhausting, and Mars in the 3rd house, maybe your life has felt really busy and so it's time to let it go. There could also be some matters or some conflicts involving siblings. Let's say you're fighting with your siblings over who will take care of your mom, or you're trying to get them more involved in taking care of your elderly mom, but they're not being involved. So a need to make some changes in that regard, to set some better boundaries there too, is quite a possibility. And yeah, like a need with Mars in the 3rd, a need to rethink your schedule, a need to examine what's draining, what's toxic, and let some of that go, as well as speak up your mind and be kind of more serious and honest about what matters, what doesn't matter. If you're seeking more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to book your one-on-one consultation, sign up for my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course, or pick up my Venus in Libra 3, or even better for you guys, Exalted Venus candle, because it falls in your 11th house. For the lovely Gemini rising, there's a full moon in your 5th house of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children. The ruler is Venus, turning direct in your 10th house, and the full moon also squares Mars in the 2nd house. So something is changing in your priorities. Something is changing in terms of your values. There might also be some changes financially where you're finding yourself, maybe, you have some extra money around, maybe you're struggling financially. And so the full moon in the 5th urges you to let go of some habit that maybe brings a lot of pleasure but is actually unhealthy for you. So there might be a little bit of tension between like what you would want to do and versus what you have to do. Where do you have to be more rational? There may be an opportunity to complete some kind of creative project, or for your child, maybe your child is going through an important transformation that affects your finances, like you're putting them in kindergarten and you're paying a lot of money for it or something like that. With the ruler Venus turning direct in the 10th, it also makes me think that you have recently, or you are about to discover your true calling, your true passions, and Venus being in the 10th house in the sign of exaltation really suggests that you seek to do work that brings you pleasure. You seek to do work that brings you joy. You no longer feel like you want to do work that is just to pay the bills. And so the full moon in the 5th may be that kind of opportunity to rethink what pleasure is and to let go of some, maybe things you do for your child, or things you do for other people, or things that, take away your money, your energy, your attention, that is ultimately not getting you where you're trying to go. So there is like it's an interesting one, because there is an opportunity to kind of examine where there's too much pleasure that maybe you need to release, and where you're not letting yourself have any good time and you're too focused maybe on other people, and change some of those dynamics. The full moon in the 5th can also bring a milestone and sort of important life moment in the life of your child, and maybe in a romantic relationship, because 5th house is the house of romance, pleasure, and sex. And so with the full moon here, you might be letting go of a relationship that doesn't have, sort of good potential, or you're transforming a relationship if you feel like it does have potential. Please share how this resonates. I feel like I've named quite a few things. And if you're looking for more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to book your personal consultation and to sign up for my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course to gain more control over your life and feel more stable in the turbulent and unpredictable world. Also, check out my Venus in Libra 3 candle. It falls in your 5th house of pleasure, which is house joy for Venus. Really, really good for you. If you are a Cancer rising, there's a full moon in your 4th house ruled by Venus turning direct in the 9th. Could you be moving? The full moon in the 4th, completion of a chapter started with the solar eclipse in October 2024. What was happening around that solar eclipse in your life? If an idea got introduced to relocate, this full moon could be the time you get the visa, you buy the tickets, you pack your bags, you go. There may be certain realizations, certain ideals that are transforming when it comes to family. You may be releasing certain beliefs, right? There's a square to Mars in your 1st house, so sometimes it suggests that you're kind of finding new beginnings, so you're transforming something in the home, family, living situation through conflict. And because it's Mars in the 1st house, you might have to be the one to stand up, to speak up, to be the one who sets the record straight. So certain tension within the family, or family members is a possibility because Venus is turning direct in the 9th. For some of you, you might even be undertaking some kind of legal battle with family or with a neighbor, because maybe they are encroaching on your property, or they're trying to force you to sell your home or something. So the full moon, do take a look what was happening in October 2024 with that solar eclipse to see what might be coming up for you right now. But it is a chance to embrace change and to transform your property, to rethink your relationship with family, to figure out where you are off balance and to shift into that direction. For more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com, book your reading. Book your year ahead consultation or solar return, best done around your birthday. Natal reading is more general. Relationship is great for compatibility guidance. It can also help you pick a date for your wedding and figure out the best place in the world to move to. You can also sign up for my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course on there, or pick up my Exalted Venus or Venus in Libra 3 candle, or both. Look how cute they are. For the beautiful Leo rising, there's a full moon in the 3rd house. So this is the completion of the chapter started in early October 2024 with the solar eclipse in Libra in your 3rd house. So if something was starting around your business or around your siblings or your relationship with your siblings or your involvement with your community, new ideas, new writing projects, new hobbies, now might be the time of culmination. It might be the time of completion of the project you started, or a change where you are done with writing and now you're looking for publishers potentially. There may be an ideological shift. There may be reconnection with the sibling if you've had maybe some kind of difficulty with them. There is a gigantic truck full of sand for a big cat outside of my window. When I was a kid, we had cats and we would find sand for the cats to pee, and right now people don't do that anymore, but that was something my family did when I was a kid. So the full moon in the 3rd, right? Like some kind of, also there might be a strong need to declutter. The ruler is Venus turning direct in your 8th house, which is all about karmic engagements, your debts, your finances, your duties to other people, right? And this could be very literal, like you're paying off a debt, very obvious. And for others, 8th house is this place of like sort of shadowy, twilight zone agreements and partnerships, and so maybe you're trying to disengage from something like that, which is very hard to even put into words. And so the full moon in the 3rd is a chance to have a conversation that you need. There's a square to Mars in the 12th, which is another suggestion that something hidden might become visible. So talk about things that are necessary, maybe change your schedule, maybe examine how you can use your skills to your advantage, maybe even figure out better sources of income streams of revenue and things like that I can see here. Please share how this resonates. If you're seeking more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to book your reading or to sign up for Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course, and to become more astrologically well-versed, to read charts for your friends, to build better connections and relationships with people in your life, and most importantly, find that self-confidence and self-awareness that astrology is here to offer you. For the beautiful Virgo rising, there's a full moon in your 2nd house, which completes the chapter started in October 2024 with the solar eclipse in Libra in your 2nd house. So what was happening around that time? Here we're looking at your house of values, priorities, resources, and finances. So you may have gotten involved in something in October, romantically, personally, professionally, that is now coming full circle. The ruler of the full moon is Venus turning direct in the 7th house. So if you are in a relationship, the full moon in the 2nd might be an opportunity to join your finances with the other person, to maybe you've been talking about starting a joint bank account and now you do it. Maybe you are moving in with somebody else. Maybe you're paying off certain debts and clearing space. What are they doing? I don't know. People are like unraveling, and it's been happening for weeks at this point. So you're probably like, why, why am I even bothered by it? But I am, because I wanted to be quiet for this. But oh well. So the full moon in the second, the ruler is Venus, turning direct in the seventh, right? Through some type of transformation in relationships, maybe through discovering more connection in relationships, your priorities transform, your values transform, and even your finances change. As Venus turns direct in the seventh, there may be a new partnership coming into your life, like you're starting a business partnership, and so with the full moon in the second, you turn to let go of a job. Or you're getting married and your finances transform because you're now not just you, but now it's you and your partner. Maybe something changed in your partner's life and now you're looking for a different job, right? Or you're moving with your partner. There's also a square to Mars in the 11th, which suggests that somehow these changes make you question your dreams and how close you are to your dreams. Let's say you are moving in with someone and they're relocating, and so you have to travel. So there might be a little bit of friction with friends and what your friends think, or with your reality and what you envisioned your future to be. But the question ultimately is, I think, what are your priorities and what are your finances and what are their priorities and what are their finances? And if you're about to start an important partnership, get married, sign an important contract, you want to make sure that you're clear on what is it that you want and you're bringing to the table, and what is it that they want and they're bringing to the table. And like if they're bringing a lot of debt, maybe it's your time to whip up a prenup or something like that. So, you know, important conversations around money is very much a possibility here. If you're seeking more, dear Virgo, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com or sign up for Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul so that you can understand yourself and figure out why the horoscopes don't always fit you and why you feel so odd and different. Astrology can give you those answers and many, many other ones. I also highly recommend my Exalted Venus candle for you guys because it's green, just like my dress, and because it falls in your 7th house of relationships. My beautiful Libra risings, there's a full moon in your 1st house, which is a completion of a personal chapter that got started in October 2024. We had a solar eclipse in Libra in October 2024, and it may have ushered you into a new personal beginning. For me, as a Libra rising, I was in Nepal at that time. So it's like the most, it's a very literal new beginning. I got my yoga teacher training, and for a while now I've been slowly gathering, not that many, but I've been gathering yoga videos, figuring out what to do with it. And so this full moon for me could be the time when I'm finally putting myself out there and being like, here's my yoga channel. Keep an eye out. I would really need your support when it comes to building my yoga channel, because I've been at it with astrology for years and yoga will be brand new. So what has happened in your life in October that is now blooming, right? The ruler is Venus turning direct in the 6th house. So we might be looking at a health situation. You got a surgery in October, you changed your diet, and now you're feeling more empowered, you're feeling stronger. You could have, like me, discovered some kind of passion, right? 6th house is the house of health and diet and nutrition and exercise. So for me, being like getting my yoga teacher training, that was very much, exercise. So you could have started working out, you could have discovered a passion for nutrition, a passion for exercise. And so with the full moon in the 1st, you are like a new you is sort of coming to light. You're speaking up, you're stating to the world, this is who I am. There's a square to Mars in the 10th from the full moon. So certain tension between your existing workload and what you're trying to accomplish, right? Maybe bosses that are being heavy and emotional and unpredictable that you're having to deal with. There's also an opposition to Chiron in the 7th. So it's an important time to get really clear on what your desires are and what makes you happy. And then when you have that self-awareness and that clarity, you can be a better partner, a better employee, a better coach and guide and teacher for other people. So I think this full moon offers you a chance to recommit to yourself and to detox and let go of things that do not serve you. Let go of those people-pleasing tendencies, worries, and anxieties that may be too attached to your image and how other people perceive you. If you're seeking more, if you do want astrology to help you understand yourself and to learn what your true karmic blueprint is, sign up for natal astrology course on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. There's also a link in the description. And together we will dive into the mysteries of your natal chart, discover your strength, and work on your weaknesses until they become true assets. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On there, you can also book a reading and talk to me face-to-face, as well as Venus in Libra candles are perfect for you guys as Libra risings. My beautiful Scorpio rising, there's a full moon in your 12th house, which completes the chapter started in October 2024 when we had a solar eclipse in Libra in your 12th house. What was happening in your life back then? The ruler of this full moon is Venus, turning direct in the 5th house. We're looking at the topics of love, pleasure, sex, children. And Venus has been retrograding, right? She's been retrograde all the way until the 12th. So she stations direct on the day of this full moon, lifting up important questions around work, around parenthood, around pleasure, around love. And so the full moon in the 12th makes me wonder if it's time for you to get brutally honest with yourself and maybe make some changes, right? With the ruler of Venus in the 5th, like, what are your fears when it comes to parenthood? What are your hang-ups when it comes to sex? What are the things that you're not expressing in your romantic relationship? What are, even maybe with the opposition to Chiron in the 6th, what are professional matters that you're kind of sweeping under the rug? There's a square to Mars in the 9th, which does indicate a certain like inflammatory quality to this full moon. There may be teachers, mentors, authority figures that you're dealing with. And so the full moon in the 12th is, it's Libra, right? So the question will always be like, where are you off balance in your life, and where do you need to bring maybe more balance, more coherence, more stability? What bad habits when it comes to parenthood, when it comes to love, when it comes to sex, pleasure, even, you know, like maybe you've been sort of smoking a little bit too much weed and you're noticing how it affects your productivity, and you're noticing that you're not as happy with yourself, and so maybe it's the time to dial back, right? Maybe it's the time to kind of let go of habits that are dragging you down and slowing you down. And then on some level, maybe it's the time to examine your beliefs about certain things and like recommit to your passions and your pleasures and recommit to living the better life. And do let me know if you remember what was happening in October for you, because some of those themes would have been highlighted by the eclipse. If you're seeking more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. Book your reading on there and sign up for my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course to become more familiar with yourself and to become a superhero, self-aware, courageous, and confident you were meant to be by learning what your natal chart has to say. For the lovely Sagittarius rising, there's a full moon in your 11th house, which is a completion of the chapter started in October 2024 with the solar eclipse in your 11th house, and a change and transformation in your house of community, your involvement with other people, group projects, friendships, networks, hopes, and dreams. With the ruler being Venus turning direct in the 4th house, I wonder if hopes and dreams that you are seeing fulfilled are connected to relocation, are connected to family, are connected to moving in with your significant other, starting a family, becoming a parent, right? The full moon in the 11th can be very much an important change in your life, and even a change in your social life out of these important dynamics transforming in your personal life. There's also a square to Mars in the 8th house, so a little bit of tension between the dreams and their fulfillment and maybe finances and debts that you are paying off, and certain like commitments that you have to maybe family members that you're looking after. You may be dealing with some friction in friendships and some disagreements as your friends don't view things the way you are. This is especially important if you are maybe running a podcast with a friend, or you were involved in a group project. Maybe you were working in a position of leadership in some kind of nonprofit, altruistic role. And the square to Mars in the 8th can indicate some like important disagreement that you need to work through. Do let me know if you remember what was happening in your life in October, because this could be significant for that. There's also an opposition to Chiron in the 5th. So again, sort of themes connected to children, parenthood, and maybe healing of the inner child, and sort of a need to assert yourself and set better boundaries with friends out of that more clear self-awareness. For more, visit Anastasia.astrology.com. Book your chart reading, natal, predictive, or relationship. It can also help you elect the right time for your wedding, or help you figure out the best place in the world, also known as Blaze, you should live in. And sign up for my Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course to become the you were meant to be. For my beautiful Capricorn rising, there's a full moon in your 10th house. So professional transformation. The ruler is Venus turning direct in the 3rd, and you're maybe embracing a new idea. You're maybe learning a new skill, right? And you're coming into your boss's office and you're like, hey, I took these courses, I've leveled up my knowledge, time for you to give me a different position. Maybe they do. Maybe they're like, Venus just went direct, I feel benevolent, yay, let's do it. Maybe you're starting a business and you're quitting your job. Maybe you're starting a writing project, right? Maybe you've always been a writer for others. Maybe you've like written songs for other people, and now you're like, no, I'm gonna go and write for myself, right? So some kind of important change in your career out of an increased sense of self-awareness, self-development, new skills, new interests, and even like newfound confidence. There is a square to Mars in the 7th simultaneously. And maybe you're dealing with some kind of friction with your partner that clouds things a little bit, or even just feeling a little bit emotional, or there's like a whole other kind of, like you're ready to take a leap, but then some people in your life do not believe in you. And so you have to deal with this kind of opposing force coming your way. The square releases into Capricorn, which is your house of identity. So do trust that you know what's right for you. We did have a solar eclipse in October, which would have been the beginning of this, the solar eclipse in Libra. So reflect back on what was happening in your professional life, what was coming to your awareness, what realizations were you experiencing, because this could be related to that most likely. And if you're seeking more guidance, visit Anastasia.astrology.com to book your reading, to pick up my Venus in Libra or any other candle, and to sign up for Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course to learn to speak the language of the stars you're made of as the star yourself, to become more confident, more self-aware, and find life full of meaning and fulfillment, even in the world that is so anxiety-inducing. Link in the description, or you can just go to Anastasia.astrology.com. For the lovely Aquarius rising, there's a full moon in your 9th house. And this is the completion of the chapter started in October 2024, early October, when we had a new moon solar eclipse in Libra. So here we're looking at your house of beliefs, and the ruler is Venus turning direct in your 2nd house. So there may be important changes in the way you view yourself, in the way you view money. It could be a very sort of like spiritual, ideological shift, maybe where you're learning to see yourself as more of a protagonist, as a main character, as someone capable and powerful. I can also see changes around education. You're maybe graduating or becoming a teacher, or if you work in education, if you work in law, because both of those are connected to the 9th house, there may be some transformations there. With Venus turning direct in the 2nd, it's for sure either some clarity around what is worth investing into, or some clarity around, you know, how much money you're worth. And so some transformations connected to that are possible too. The square to Mars in the 6th house suggests certain friction involving work, health, and service. So maybe you know, with the full moon in the 9th, you're potentially opening yourself up to new possibilities, right? Whether they are financial or educational or travel related. Like full moon in the 9th is all about like kind of finding balance between your immediate environment, your small world, and the larger world and your role in it. And the full moon will encourage you to kind of go into like the larger world and take more risks. But I think the square to Mars in the 6th suggests that, you know, you can't just quit everything. Like the square to Mars in the 6th will be your colleagues that are expecting things from you, or your bosses, or your parents that you are helping with something. So it's an interesting one because 9th house is a very philosophical place. So physical changes, like I said, graduating, finishing dissertation, moving, relocating, traveling, you know, going on a trip you've been planning for a while, but also more spiritual kind of ideological shifts that affect the rest of your life are possible. I'd love to hear how this resonates. If you're seeking more, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com to book your face-to-face consultation or to sign up for Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course to understand your unique astrological blueprint, your strengths, empower yourself through transforming weaknesses into assets, and find life full of stability and meaning in the turbulent world we live in. Last but not least, the beautiful Pisces rising. There's a full moon in your 8th house ruled by Venus turning direct in the 1st. So Venus has been direct from your 2nd into the 1st house, right? She's been going through the ringer. You have been wondering a lot about maybe your money, your investments, your identity, how you can live a better life. But money has been on your mind for sure. And so the full moon in the 8th offers you a chance to implement some changes. Maybe you're paying off a debt that you've been eyeing for a while. Maybe you're letting go of like some kind of karmic burden, some kind of dependency and promise you made to a person that's been weighing heavily on you. Take a look back at October 2024 when we had a solar eclipse in Libra, because that would have been, you know, sort of the part of this cycle, the new beginning, and now you're reaching a point of like turning and change. But it's here you're looking at the balance between your resources and your priorities and your money and values and other people's resources, priorities, and money and values. And if you started a partnership or you started an investment, maybe you started a joint bank account with your significant other, the full moon represents a need to sort of rebalance the scales, right? And it could be the time to like move that bank account to a different bank, right? Or it could be the time to renegotiate your salary that you agreed to, pay off a debt, sort of clear off your mortgage payments. Yeah, it feels like releasing, but it can also be about recommitting to a relationship, recommitting to a partnership. There is a square to Mars in the 5th, and so your finances may be disturbed by something that's happening with your child, like they break the tooth and you need to go to the dentist and you need to pay $2,000 to get them a new tooth or something. There might also be some friction around questions related to parenthood, and maybe you're and your partner talking about that and trying to figure out how you see the future unfolding. Certain disagreements around sex and intimacy and pleasure. And so the full moon in the 8th is not just about money, but it's also about having to talk about these things that we sometimes don't like talking about, and through that finding more vulnerability, intimacy, and closeness. If you're seeking more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and book your reading on there, and sign up for Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul course to learn more about your unique astrological fingerprint, your natal chart, to become more confident, more self-aware, and more empowered in the world that usually doesn't give us a lot of things to hold on to because everything is just so unpredictable. I also highly recommend my Exalted Venus candle for you guys. Anyways, thank you for being here. I hope you're excited. I hope your April is going well. The good news is we are almost out of the woods. Eclipse season is behind us, right? The retrogrades are almost over, and from now we are getting closer and closer to Jupiter entering Cancer, which for you guys, for everyone it's great, but if you're Pisces still watching, it's a very fertile, romantic, sort of beautiful energy. So we are in a good place right now, I think. We just need to wait a little bit longer and we'll start getting rewards. Enjoy your spring, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.